Let's make sure development web server is running and our application is available by the address localhost 5173. And now we are ready to start development. Firstly, let's figure out what happens when we load this address in a browser. And the file which gets loaded is called index.html. Here we can see that the script with the name main.js is included on this page. And this is the script where our Vue application gets loaded. Let's open up this file. Firstly, we see the import of the function createApp from Vue package. Later we're gonna use this function to initialize Vue application. Then comes another import, which imports main component of the application with the name app.vue. This is that component which currently gets displayed in Vue Developer Tools. After that, we import our style sheet, which only contains directives to include Tailwind CSS. And the last instruction is where we initialize and mount Vue application in a container with an ID of app. The element with this ID exists in the file index.html. So once this instruction is executed, all content that is contained within root component app.vue will be rendered on the page. That's what we see right here. And to inspect the markup of this component, we can click on this button and we'll see the exact markup that was rendered by this component. Now we don't need this heading anymore. Let's return to the app.vue, remove this content, and start designing our application. Let's create header, which will contain the anchor tag with our logo. Logo will be represented by an image tag. I have already placed file with a logo in assets folder. And also let's add an alternate text to this image and check out how this looks in the browser. And we can see our logo. Next, let's add another anchor tag below the image. It will be a label which is going to say day complete. But we'll have to position this element next to an image on the right side. And just to make it easier for us to see the whole picture, let's add some dummy content at the bottom of this page. Alright, now we got some content. Let's start adding classes to the header. Firstly, we're gonna stick this header to the top of the page, so it's always displayed while scrolling. Let's add class called sticky. To stick it to the top, add class top0. And to increase the index of this element, we'll add class z20. Let's take a look on the page. Here we can see that the header has become sticky. And now let's position both elements, image and label, on one line. To do so, we can add a class flex to the header. And then just to decrease the height of an image, let's add a class h9 to the image tag. Next, we're gonna apply vertical alignment to the elements in the header by adding class items center. And to place these elements by sides, we add class justify between, which corresponds to CSS property justify content with value space between. After that, we can add a little border to this header by using class border-b, make a background color white, and add a little spacing on all sides with the class p3. This class corresponds to CSS property padding. So far so good, as we can see. And now let's add an icon in a header. For icons, we're gonna use a library called Heroicons. It has two versions, for React and for Vue applications. We're gonna use version for Vue. To install this library in our project, let's copy over this npm install instruction and run it in our project root. Every icon from this library is represented by the Vue component. And first of all, to use custom component in another component, we gotta use tag script. In our case, since we also use Composition API, we should add a special attribute called setup, which will activate Composition API. And then we just simply have to import icon component within this file, just like we do with other ES6 modules. And the particular icon that we need is called the check circle icon. And to get the proper path for this import, let's get back to the GitHub page and copy it from here. And now let's see how the icon we're gonna use looks like. I'm gonna type the name of the icon in the search field on Heroicons website, and we can see which icon corresponds to this name. it's a simple checkmark. And in this way, we can use any icon name from here, but while importing components that correspond to these icons, we also have to add suffix icon to every icon name. So this is why I have used the name check circle icon to import this component. And then every component that gets imported within another Vue component can be used as a normal HTML tag within the template. Let's use this icon on the page, right below the label day complete. At the same time, we're gonna manually specify the height for this icon. Let's use class h7. Now let's position these elements on one line. To do so, we're gonna make this div flexible container by using class flex, align elements within this container vertically in the center, and specify the distance between child elements in this container with the class gap1. And also, if we take a look at the Vue DevTools on the right side, we can also see that our app component uses custom component called checkCircleIcon. Just to make it look prettier, let's add a class which is gonna assign the color to this icon. We'll use green. And we're also going to decrease the font size for this label. Assign a class to the whole wrapper, text small. And after we have done that, we're gonna add one more label right below the label day complete, which is going to have the same wrapper with exact same classes. But the text will be different. In this case, we'll type progress. And to show the progress value in the percentage, we're gonna use another tag span just to change the font for this particular value. We're gonna use monospaced font. To do so, let's add a class font-mono. And also right next to this label, we're gonna display a little circle, which will correspond to the status of our current progress. And to make it circle, we're gonna assign the same height and width, 3 units, fully round this square to make it circle. And for now, let's use the color for this circle, red 500. And here it is, we get 2 labels displayed at the same time. But in our case, there should be only one label displayed at once. And to conditionally show a particular element in Vue, we can use Vue directive called vueif. This directive expects JavaScript expression, and for now I'm just going to put here true. And based on this condition, Vue decides whether to show this element or to hide it. And there is also another additional directive which is used in combination with vueif. This directive is called vueelse, and it should be placed right after the element where vueif directive is used, so that both these elements have to be siblings. And now if we're going to take a look at our page, we're gonna see only one label, the one where vueif directive contains true value. And just to make sure, let's see if this label is gonna be hidden when we change this condition to false. In this case, the next block with vueelse should be shown instead. And as we can see, it works as expected. And now let's remove the rest of the dummy content from this page and keep only the header. We're gonna continue in the next lesson.